Oreos. So we were at the store the other day. I was like,
Loves broccoli and Oreos.
So I was like, I'll buy you some Oreos, kid. But I got him the gingerbread. It's like gingerbread cookies with like a peppermint cream on the inside. They were sick. We threw them away.
No.
They were
disgusting.
so gross.
No. If you're putting you want peppermint chunks.
Yeah, it was not good.
Don't do the peppermint cream crap. Mm-mm.
And with all that holiday flair, this is, with that being said, a Rue Fitness podcast. Welcome today to another lovely episode with the two most beautiful women in my life, besides my daughter, Miss Sarah Altabello.
Broke some hearts just then.
Is what it is.
Nobody's sliding into your DMs after that.
We just talked about this. All right. So for the record, I posted some rather sexy pictures of myself today on Instagram.
Yes, they were.
When you're hearing this will be actually like 8 days ago. But anyway, and you won't be able to see them because they were my story, so they're gone.
You missed them.
But nonetheless, if you DM me, I'll send them to you. Maybe that'll drum up some interest. I don't know.
Where can they find these pictures?
In my inbox.
But it's like Bradley
at Bradley Schneller.
That's it.
That's it. But
Everyone has the underscore
again,
Schneller.
if you want to see scandalous pictures of me, just DM me and I'll send them to you. I'll tag Emily in them if it makes you feel better. But anyway, so I posted these pictures, and it was like 5:15 in the morning when I took them because people were like, "Why you look half awake?" And I'm like, "Because that's when I was my leanest." Nonetheless, I took them, and Emily was like, "How many DMs you get today?"
Because the call to action was like, slide into my DMs if you want to know more about nutrition.
Why does it slide into my DMs? That sounds so creepy.
Because
why not just send me a DM?
That is the creepy way to say it. That's not what you said.
I know. I said send me a DM.
Send me a DM if you want to learn more
Emily's
about
like,
nutrition.
slide into my DMs.
That's the creepy way to say it.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, so she goes, how many DMs did you get today? And I was like, let's read them off. And it's like, dude,
family,
Aww.
5th grade substitute teacher, dude, sister-in-law, dude.
Oh, well.
Yeah. No love.
This is either going to be great for you, like you're going to get all the DMs later, or you're going to get the weirdest DMs from this and wish you had never said that.
You know, there's going to be a bunch of message requests at the top right corner. People that I'm not friends with.
Ding, 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 ding.
Love it.
But hey, send them if you're interested. We'll see what we can get you. Maybe we'll put a bow on it. Not that. Nope.
Okay.
Rewind. Anyway, Miss Sarah Altabello.
That's me.
Our content manager here at Rue Fitness. Our director of nutrition and chief operating officer, Miss Emily Schneller here.
What up, y'all?
And I am Bradley Schneller. So
On Instagram.
on Instagram at Bradley Schneller. So today we are talking about why wait when you can have it now.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't think we were recording an infomercial, but I'm here for it.
It's always an infomercial.
Yeah. So I think once you pass Thanksgiving, you are in full holiday swing. And so often this is the time of year where people just kind of throw their hands up and they say, I'm not going to work towards anything. I'm just going to wait until January 1st. I mean, we see that all the time throughout the year. People saying they're not going to start something until Monday or until the time's right or until X, Y, and Z is done.
Oh, yeah. So the question is if you wait those 30 days or 35 days, whatever, between Thanksgiving and the first of the year, how much extra work will you actually have to do?
Probably a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's putting off the inevitable, but you're going to have to work that much harder when you do start because and I think probably the story that people are telling themselves is if I can't go all in, I might as well not start.
Right.
And it's not the mentality to have. And it's where nutrition is concerned, especially like our whole nutrition program is based on like baby steps.
Right.
So it's not something that you have to uproot your whole life to be successful in.
I talked about this the other day. I talked a few weeks ago where I talked about there are people that wait till Monday and then there are people that start today.
Yeah.
And the people that start today are far more successful than the people that start the Monday. Because if you're waiting to start the Monday for everything you ever want to do, okay, most likely you're a procrastination type of person.
Yes, like let's just call it what it is. It's procrastination. And I don't know about y'all, but my Mondays are hard.
Yeah.
Like my Mondays are full.
If I had
am
to
not
start shit
starting
on Mondays,
anything
it would
on
be
Monday.
bad. Yeah, Mondays are not a great day.
But I think the feeling of Monday is like it's something fresh, like, right? It's like a fresh new week. Same thing with January. It's a fresh new year, right? But I think that it's a dangerous cycle to get into because the stories that you're in your head telling you that it's better to wait, like that keeps going. Like that's a snowball. That
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset
that will not get you to where you want to go.
You are getting
long-term.
like more by waiting, you're just getting more entrenched in the habits that aren't moving you towards your goal, and also getting more entrenched in the habit of putting things off.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what are some tips maybe, or what would you tell people? I mean, what would you tell that person that's like, oh, I'm going to wait till January?
I mean, I just kind of had this conversation with a client who I recommended moving on to phase 2 of the nutrition program. And she was like, do you think it's better to wait until after the holidays so I can set myself up for success? And I'm like, you know what? It's up to you. We can wait. Right now, I think that you're ready, but I think that you need to have a progress, not perfection mindset going in. You can absolutely be successful over the holidays, and it's not a reason to wait. And the important thing to remember too, and I think we got this advice when we were like feeling like we were ready to have kids, like there will never be a perfect time ever.
Correct.
There will always be something, a holiday, a birthday, if you're in New Orleans, a festival eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there will never be a perfect opportunity where you have like a 6-month runway where you can get everything put together.
And
There
that's
will-
just you, not even
Yeah.
taking into account other people's lives that affect you and how that could, stall you out.
The other thing that I think about it with this as well is if you consider like the first 4 weeks of the program to be a calibration phase, which I say a lot. I know you say that as well, Emily. I don't know if you do, Sarah, but most time it's you getting used to the program, right? And feeling it out. Okay. So if you spend those 4 weeks in December feeling it out, and then your perfect time is January,
Right.
then you hit the ground running when it's time and you've already spent those 4 weeks. Otherwise, you're not hitting the ground running until February,
Right.
So that goes for anything. Start it now, get used to it, because it's the same thing with working out, right? People always say they don't want to come to Rue because they need to go get in shape first. Bullshit. You
Yeah.
come to us to get in shape. So you come to us to fix your eating woes, okay, or your poor dietary habits and create new, better ones that are long-lasting. Start now.
Yeah. Can I just give a shout out to our community though? Because I think we are fostering a community of doers. We had 5 people join Stacked Coaching the week of Thanksgiving.
I had a client
So pumped about
whose
that.
day 1 was Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
Her day 1.
That's great there.
I had a conversation with a client the other day too. We were getting started, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm leaving on a trip tomorrow. I'm going to Miami. I am visiting with family that I haven't seen in 7 years." And I was like, "Oh, so are you telling me you want to start when you get back?" And she was like, "No, I want to start today." And I'm like, "Yes, that's awesome."
Think about if you applied this mindset of I'm going to wait till the perfect time to start my nutrition, or when there's no roadblocks, to everything else in your life.
Yeah.
Like paying your bills.
Right?
You would get nothing done. You would live in a cocoon. You would live under your bed,
Yeah.
waiting for the boogeyman to come out and get you.
If you waited to pay your bills till the perfect time, which would be never, you would rack up a bunch of debt and late fees and all these credit card charges. And then what would happen? You'd be digging yourself out a hole for double, triple, quadruple the amount of time. The same thing goes for your nutrition. If you wait till after all the holidays, after all the festivals, after whatever new job you started or program or whatever, okay, then it's only more pounds you're trying to lose, more inches.
Yeah. I like to ask myself and ask clients this a lot. I say first, what's the worst that could happen?
Mm-hmm.
If you start right now, what's the worst thing that could happen? Once you've established that, what's the best thing that can happen? And every single time realizing that the benefits outweigh maybe the stresses.
Yeah.
It's a light bulb every single time.
Yeah. And asking the questions like, what's holding you back?
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
And I think it goes down to, the people that are the most successful, I think it's important to have goals. But the people that are the most successful, and I think what Stacked breeds and what Rue breeds, are people that are systems and processes oriented and not so much goals oriented. Because when you are fixated on the goal and not enjoying the process, it's not sustainable, and it's just another reason to put things off.
Yep.
But if you're enjoying the process that's taking you there, then there's literally no reason to wait.
Have you come in any of your sales calls, Emily, with clients that are interested in, and even with the gym, where there was hesitation to start for whatever reasons, and then they did start, and then kind of what did you see from those people that kind of bucked their hesitation and jumped in?
I mean, they're never mad about it. It's kind of like when you join a gym and stories in your head, right? Like, I don't know if I want to go today. And then you show up and you're never mad that you came, right? You always feel better. And it just is a matter of showing up and putting your shoes on and getting to the gym. It's the same thing with nutrition. Just start.
We have a current member who joined because her husband joined. And I'll see if you remember this story. She was really nervous. She tried a class, was really apprehensive. She did not want to put on a lot of muscle. Just kind of had her hands up. It just felt like she was doing it because he was doing it, and it was kind of like it was fitness and whatever. She is still a member, and he is not.
Wow.
I don't think I know who you're talking about. You can tell me afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. So,
and I had her in class today, and she was lifting super heavy weight, and I was so impressed with her.
Yay.
I love that.
Bitch muscles.
Hashtag. Haven't used that one in a few episodes.
We haven't done that in a while. So, shit. I'm tongue tied here.
Do y'all have anything y'all are starting now? Or what are some things that you used to put off for the first of the year that you do now?
So this is kind of cool. We had a planning meeting for Rue/Stacked, right? Mm-hmm. And I was looking at everything that we had talked about, and I was putting it together a plan for 2021. And I was like, oh, we already did this stuff. I was checking things off because we just did it the week after we talked about it. So we didn't wait until the first of the year to implement some of these things. We just put a plan in place and started implementing.
Yeah.
I want to go back to what you said earlier. You were talking about what's the worst thing that can happen. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like people should use that for everything, especially we're coming around with all these holiday parties coming up. And we talked about a holiday episode, but if you try to loosely keep track of all your meals, what's the worst that could happen? If you start now and you start doing habits and you try to manage your habits at a party, at a family function, whatever, and you're new to this, what's the worst that can happen? Literally, what's the worst that can happen?
I don't know.
You miss 2 minutes of a conversation because you were spending a little more time making your plate. Yeah.
Or what we talked about in the private Facebook group is somebody gets offended because you didn't want to eat what they're offering. That's the worst that can happen.
Grandma's offering you some pie and you're like, no thanks.
Right.
And then make you feel bad about it.
And they make you feel bad about it. Yeah. And one of the things that I always think about with that is grandma or, aunt or cousin or whoever the fuck it is. Okay. That doesn't affect them except for that moment. The 2 little minutes that they're badgering you about eating this and want to take you down and shove that pie down your face because it makes them feel good that you're eating shitty with them. Because that's what it is, folks. That's what it is. Just to put it out there, is that they don't want to feel bad about eating the food, so they want to make you eat it, because if you don't eat it, well, then they realize that they maybe lack some self-control or maybe made some poor choices or didn't do correct planning for them. Okay. So it affects them for all of 2 minutes. And then an hour and a half later, when y'all are doing the dishes or hanging out or watching the football game, what's going on? They're not thinking about it. They're not thinking about it ever again. But if you eat that pie or those cookies or whatever, guess what you're doing 2 hours later? Regretting the shit out of it, feeling guilty. Now you feel like you have to make up for it the rest of the week. And it could derail your entire week. Why? Because you said yes to that person.
You said yes to somebody else's plan, not your own.
Not your own. So
yeah, I think especially when it comes to nutrition in this scenario, someone who's apprehensive to start now versus January 1st, when you ask them what's the worst that could happen, it boils down to disappointment. Either they feel like they are disappointing someone else by not taking their food, they feel like they are offending them, or they do take it and they are disappointed in themselves. And to me, if anything, that is more like you couldn't get a bigger sign that it's time to start nutrition coaching. If that is the worst that could happen, why is that the emotion that you are tying to food and these choices? How can we disconnect that?
yeah. Also, if you're on the fence right now and you're like teetering about whether you need nutrition coaching or fitness or whatever type of community that fosters a better health and well-being, then you might be the person that might find yourself at a party. Well, COVID-free party, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Okay. But you might find yourself at a holiday party or with friends or whatever. And if you catch yourself justifying to other people what you're eating and why you're eating it, come check us out, stackedcoaching.com, because that should not be something you should be doing. You should have the support, or you should feel supported to be strong and confident in the choices you make this holiday season or whenever, to where you don't need to justify that.
Right. And it doesn't need to be a grand gesture like we were talking about before. It's not these huge intentions like I'm not going to consume sugar over the holidays. Like that is probably not reasonable for most people. When I was having conversations with clients about what their plan was for Thanksgiving, I'll share this, she won't mind. Abby's intention was, I'm just going to have 2 rolls. Like normally I would eat 8.
Yeah.
Like that's awesome. And that is giving yourself the leeway to enjoy the things that you like to consume, but you're not overdoing it.
And I bet that that was something she could do.
Yes.
And that
she
did it and it made her feel good.
Yes.
So she made more good choices.
Yes.
Yeah, and talking about that, like I just had a client who's in her second week. Okay, so we just had literally our first check-in post to kick off.
Yeah.
And I asked her, you know, some about some of the meals she had and what is something you could have done differently to help promote the habit we're working on this week. And she said, well, it was, you know, eating some cookies out of this box, and she has some food sensitivities. And she said, well, I could have just walked away and drank water. And I'm like, no, like
Is that reasonable?
you're not there yet. Like there's a time to
Yeah.
be able to work on hunger and being hungry and know what that feeling is. That week 1 is not that time.
Yeah.
Okay. Week 2 is not that time. Week 3, week 4 is not that time.
Right.
Okay. That is after you're a little bit more established and you learn how to be hungry.
Right.
Okay. But at this sense, we're just looking for little changes, slight changes. And you know, what I offered to her is come back, rethink about it. And it was, she said it later on, I should just eat some fruit instead. And I said, boom, there you go. So like you could still satisfy that sweet tooth. You can still eat something. Okay. We just want to replace it with a simple ingredient. Or remember, you want to eat foods that are ingredients, not foods that contain ingredients.
Especially when you have food sensitivities.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I know this about you, Bradley. So we have a team holiday meal coming up this week, and we're planning on indulging. What is your plan to set yourself up for success?
Glad you asked. So
I've been thinking about this too.
yeah. So I decided the last time we went to a team meeting, our like a leadership team meeting, I tracked all my macros, okay? But for this, I decided I'm not going to, okay? I am intentionally not tracking that day.
Why?
To give myself a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to give myself a break.
that's good.
And I think that there's a time for it. And for what people don't realize is, like, I have tracked every single day for over 60 days, with the exception of maybe one day.
Yeah.
Out of those 60-something
And
days.
Thanksgiving was not that
No,
exceptional.
I tracked on Thanksgiving.
Right.
Okay. Because it was an easy day to track.
Yep.
So anyway, so my plan is, I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to, like we talk about, eat like an asshole, right? So, like, I'm not going to eat things at this meal that I wouldn't normally eat. Like, I don't all of a sudden eat a bunch of fried food and all these indulgences. Okay. I am going to drink alcohol. All right. I'm going to eat whatever meat looks super appealing to me. I'll probably eat some sensible sides, but something appeals to me, I'm going to eat it. So that's my plan day of.
Yep.
Okay. What am I going to do ahead of time? Well, my caloric target on a daily basis is 2,500 calories. Okay. And 240 grams of protein, 245 carbs, and 65 grams of fat. So every day this week leading up to that day and the 2 days after, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to eat 240 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, 60 grams of fat, for a total of 2,300 calories every day, saving me roughly 1,200 calories over the course of the week. And I'm doing the majority of that ahead of time so that I'm not scrambling after to try to make up for it. And I know that it'll be kind of freeing on that day. Now, this is not something I always want to do. I like to try to stay consistent because if it is something you start to do on a regular basis, your scale will get a little wonky. You'll freak out about it, okay? But by taking this approach with the 4 days leading in, I should come out of Friday on Saturday and Sunday feeling good, not feeling too bloated. I imagine I will feel bloated a little bit because I'll be drinking alcohol, and my sodium intake will be way up because I didn't prepare these foods, okay? However, my scale should be relatively normal heading out.
I mean, consider the amount of planning that went into this decision to eat out on Friday. Like, that is a considerable amount of planning that you just took us through, right?
Right.
And I want to point out a couple of things that you did and did not do. You did not, like, starve yourself before the meal or the day of. You didn't drastically lower your calorie intake, so that makes you starving when you are ready to indulge. And you're taking a little bit of calories from every single day and removing that and essentially banking those so you can have this day where you are intentionally not tracking. Okay, that's part of your plan, and planning on indulging in alcohol and foods that you don't normally have. But even though you are indulging, you are planning for it. So at the end of this experience, you will feel accomplished and you will still be on track to meet your goals, even though you had this meal.
Yeah, I remember when we went to our last team meeting and I weighed everything throughout the day, which was nuts at a Mexican restaurant. And I ate like 3,300 calories that day, which some people would be like, and I celebrated that day, and they're like, why? And I'm like, well, because I had a plan the 2 days leading into it. My plan was different that time than this time, where I like conserved the 2 days before, not the entire week before. So I'm trying something a little bit different. But I was super pumped because I had a target. I hit that target, okay? Hit all my protein. And even though it was like 3,200, 3,300 calories, it was right exactly how it needed to be. And I was pretty jacked about it. So I will feel pretty good being on target all the way in, enjoying myself on Friday, getting back on target Saturday and Sunday. And then, Monday will feel super accomplished, like a great week. So
Love it.
Yep.
yeah. All right. And
Well, and you're also going to do like the unspoken things probably really well. Like you're probably going to drink water throughout the day.
Yeah.
Because it's more indulgent food and you've put these other habits in place, you're probably going to sit down and eat it. I mean, you still eat kind of fast, but you're going to eat it slowly and enjoy it.
I'm so much better at it.
Much
You
better.
are.
Emily eats faster than me now.
You're going to sit down. You're going to enjoy your meal, which is going to allow you to figure out when you're full.
Right.
I don't know. You might have like breakfast or a Built Bar or some protein in the morning. Like you're not going to be ravenous going into lunch wanting to eat everything in sight.
And you're still going to make good choices because you know how that food makes you feel. Like I know going out to restaurants with you, especially recently, you know, you're getting the venison loin and the chicken, you know, like still choosing lean protein options and vegetables, and it's been delicious.
Right. No, I've been impressed every single
Right.
time, you know?
Yeah.
This has kind of been a hodgepodge of an episode.
Yep.
But that's okay.
It's kind of cool though.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, I think it all kind of flows. I mean, we're talking about like why you shouldn't wait. And if you already are on this journey, here's some tools for accounting for the holidays.
One of the things that my coach taught me, it's not Emily, or I should say my mentor, it's helping me with business and stuff like that, is that, man, it is really okay to not eat your entire meal at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, just because you paid for it doesn't mean you need to eat the entire thing right there. You know, like you
I
can
had a client
box
that
half of it up.
I had a client that went to Zia's the other day, and she intentionally ordered more food than she would normally order because she wanted to have leftovers, because that's normally been her routine. She eats leftovers for lunch. She's like, well, I'm going out, so I'm not going to have leftovers. So she got extra fish and greens so that she could pack it up. And she just asked them, like, can you pack this up for me? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, we could do a whole nother episode about like our instilled biases about food, like finishing your plate, eating dessert. Like I grew up in a family, you always had dessert after dinner, breakfast foods, whatever. So yeah.
Awesome. You guys have anything to add to talk to people about urgency of signing up?
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. Awesome, y'all. Well, we hope you have a very good rest of the week as we lead into this holiday season. If you're listening to this from a year from now, I hope your week's good too. But make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us. Share us as well. We love to be shared. 5 stars, kind words only. You can also find us if you're interested in nutrition coaching, stackedcoaching.com. If you want to schedule a jump start for Rue and come check out our wonderful fitness community full of bright, smiley faces and lots of opinions on music, then check us out. Rue.fitness. Get started. So
Free sessions with both.
free sessions with both.
session.
So peace out, y'all.
Bye.